Hi everyone, today we're here with our incredible flute player, composer, piano player, incredible arranger, Bernard Houston. Hey Bernard.
Hey, g'day Eddie, how's it going?
Hey, good, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's fun to be here.
Beautiful tune, this is so nice.
Yeah, do you want to hear something about it?
Yes, please, yeah.
So,
I would love it, tell me.
because I thought we're having a chatting about music,
Yeah.
and where people come from in music,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
why they do music. So obviously I play flute,
Yes.
and then when you play flute, there's only so many styles of music that actually have a lot of flute in them. And one of them, happily enough, is actually Irish music, which is where this tune is from.
Yeah.
And my own background, my own cultural background is like 90% of Australia,
Yeah.
white Australia like
Yeah.
me, not Australians like you, but like me,
Yeah.
is Irish Scots in the main.
Yeah.
And this particular tune is called Lark in the Morning, and I love it because it sounds exactly like that. You can imagine the bird ascending and calling in the morning.
Absolutely.
It just describes it so beautifully.
Yes.
And so I thought I brought it along because, to be honest, I
it's gorgeous.
didn't think you would have played a tune like this. very
No,
much.
thanks. Yeah.
I thought I'd give you something different to play.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so
I
much.
was going
That
through all
was
my stuff this
beautiful.
morning. I thought, Eddie plays heaps of swing. I won't bring any swing.
Oh, awesome.
I
Well,
won't
thank
bring
you.
four because he's better at that than
That's
me. So I'll bring
gorgeous.
this.
Yeah. I love it. Really, really nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's talk about a little bit about you and your musical journey. I guess,
Sure.
So what was your first instrument? Did you start with the piano or was it the flute? Was your first
Well, my first instrument was probably a recorder.
instrument? No, really?
like,
At school?
At school,
Nice,
yeah.
yeah,
And
cool.
I always had like a melodica,
Oh,
like
yeah.
a piano
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah,
little thing at
beautiful.
home.
Yeah.
But I got really into it. So I ended up like, we did it at school and we had these horrible chipped wooden recorders that had been soaked in some kind of formaldehyde or some really smelly
Oh, really?
thing.
Oh, my God.
Terrible. But I had my own at home, so I taught myself how to play a recorder. And I
Nice.
got, fairly good at it.
Awesome.
But my first real band instrument was bass guitar.
Right,
And
okay.
at the end of high school, because I didn't really do music at school when I was young. I
Right.
started music when I was late. when I was
Right,
an adult.
okay.
So my first real instrument was bass guitar, and it was a typical rock and roll journey. My friends were putting a band together, and nobody could play bass, and nobody wanted to play bass. And they said, "Oh, would you play bass?" I thought, "Well, why not?" Could do worse things with my time.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
I learned how to play bass guitar.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool. I didn't know that. You're a rocker.
Yeah. And
good idea.
the flute thing came along later.
Yeah, really.
Because
okay.
I'd sort of picked up my flute. My sister actually was learning flute. And because
Right.
there was one in the house,
Yeah.
I picked it up and just worked out how to get a noise out of
Yeah.
it. And some mates of mine were going to a jam session. And so originally I was a maths science guy. Like I wasn't really a musician when I was young. I was really into maths, really into science. And I have a science degree.
Awesome.
That was
Oh, really? Yeah, cool.
My first degree was science.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I got to the end of that and I was wondering what to do, my friends were going to a jam session. And they said, "Oh, come along." And I said, "Well, what can I bring? I can bring a recorder or I can bring a flute."
Yeah.
And they said, "Bring a flute."
Yeah.
And anyway, because I was the only person who turned up with a flute, I was the only person that the band invited back.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and I was really shit.
Yeah.
I was completely crap. I was not good at all. It's just that I didn't bring a guitar.
Yeah.
That was my only redeeming feature.
Yeah.
So anyway, that week I just went home and I practiced scales.
Awesome.
Went back the next week and did another jam with a blues band.
Nice.
Ended up playing with them.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
I played in a blues band.
Really? The flute? Yeah,
for
that's
the flute
fantastic.
for about a year. And then I started learning the flute
Yeah.
because I thought, well, I'm playing this thing, and actually I started to get paid to be played. And I
Yeah,
thought, well,
sure.
maybe I should actually learn
the
flute.
instrument properly.
So-
So you might like older. So I was there after uni. You
No,
said?
yeah, I was after uni.
Wow,
I was
that's
21.
fantastic. Wow, that's
Yeah, no, I was an
incredible.
adult. Yeah.
Well done. That's
Yeah,
really good.
so that's when my flute playing thing started.
Yeah.
so-
that's so cool.
So I bought Amy B's books. Amy B is like a music exam thing.
yeah, sure.
And so I just bought each year I just buy the next grade.
Yeah,
And I worked my way
just
through
wanted to work your way through it.
And went and saw some people who could play flute.
Yeah, got some tips from them.
Got lessons here and there, and just did it, and I got up to grade 8.
Wow,
So I
well
did my grade
done.
8
That's
flute.
fantastic.
Yeah, it was, so that's how I learned flute.
Yeah, so good. Oh, You
Yeah.
play it so well. It's amazing. And you have this, this kind of ability to improvise as well, which is
Yeah.
not very associated, I guess, with the instrument, right? It's more like a classical,
Yes.
you know.
And typically when people learn flute, they learn by playing classical first. But I learned when I was playing in a blues band,
Yeah.
which is
It's
all
easily
improvised.
improvisation. Yeah.
And,
that's so cool.
and then I moved more into pop and folk and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
So I was always improvising.
Yeah,
And I love improvising.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's so much fun, right?
Yeah, it's great fun. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah.
But like we know you as well as a composer, right? Bernard is
it's my
community's composer. You know,
It's
being,
my main passion. Is actually writing music.
Exactly.
And
strings and like movies, scores and all sorts of stuff that you do.
anyone who wants music, I rarely say no. Yeah, no. In terms of commission stuff, I've done a couple of really cool things in recent years. There's a beautiful string quartet called Luminescence, and they actually asked me to write a piece of music for them last year.
Awesome.
And actually, it drew upon some of this Irish stuff because the theme they gave me was it had to all be about Midsummer Night's Dream. And so, and they said, it's got to be like fairies and like, very rich and beautiful. And I thought, oh, wow, this sort of Irish sort of style would go well. So I ended up writing this big piece of music that was centered around these Irish sort of rhythms.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really good fun to write.
Cool.
And then the project before that, I was actually working with an Iranian playwright.
Wow.
And talk about like chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this Iranian playwright did this amazing work about being a refugee in Australia called the Tower of Babel. And it was actually funded through the Australia Council.
Wow, wonderful.
So I was actually hired in to write that music, and I got to work with some of the top Persian musicians in the country.
Oh wow, that's fantastic!
In here and in Melbourne.
Yeah, wow.
And so I got them into the studio, and I got them to play bits of stuff.
Yeah.
Because the commission was that it had to draw upon Persian folk music, but it had to be a crossover with the West, and they particularly wanted electronica.
Oh, okay, sure, influence. Yeah, cool.
So it was like, okay.
Wow, okay,
let's go with this.
Yeah, awesome.
And so, I got all these Persian players in there, played all this stuff, and then I just went to town.
Yeah, cool, awesome. And did you approach her like as we would when we arrange your composing for, I guess, Western instruments? Like, did you score all the pieces? No, scoring. How did you?
I did it more like a DJ.
Okay, sure.
So for that one, I used a program called Ableton.
Yeah. Ableton Live?
Yeah. So with that one, you can actually jam loops like a DJ does.
Sure, cool.
So, basically I jammed it as a DJ would. And that's how I create. So I find if you want to write something in a particular way, you've got to really go there. Yeah. And because the commission was electronica, I thought, I've really got to think
the medium that most electronic writers
So there was no score at all. It was all created out of samples and loops and then resampling and creating my own samples and synthesized instruments and just going.
Cool. And what about the Iranian instruments?
Well, they were played in.
Yeah,
but they're like experts. So like that's what they grew up doing.
Cool,
so they just came in. So I had,
what kind of instruments were they? What they even look like? I don't know. Are there many percussion?
Sitar. They're like a lute.
Okay, sure.
They're they're fretless. Got quite skinny necks.
Sure.
Some of them got resonating strings.
Wow.
And there was a string instrument called a shakamam, which is like a violin. You play on your knee. Yeah. And it turns, and it's actually going to go sympathetic strings in the neck.
Okay, cool.
And then various kinds of drums and percussion.
Awesome.
But I mean,
been fun.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun because I had to write half an hour music, and I only had. When the Persian guys came and played the thing, I had about 3 minutes worth of actual music that I had to spin out to a half-hour soundtrack.
Wow, okay, cool.
It was so much fun.
So basically you're saying, like, you recorded them for each one for 3 minutes and then you use kind of like a collage, bits and pieces.
Right. Chop it up.
Through, but also electronic backing, I guess, that you created.
But then also what I do is I just got them to play Persian scales on their instrument.
Awesome.
And then I could sample that. And then I could play them myself.
Fantastic. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So
awesome.
So brought it together and did it that way. So that's like one end of things. But other things, obviously, you get them and you actually write out music and you score it. Particularly if you're working with
strings. And
stuff, people have learned from a Western classical tradition. They feel very comfortable, and they're machines. They just put it in front of them. They just play it. It's like,
so good. It's crazy.
So it's heaps of fun, actually.
Awesome. Well done. That's so cool. I always admire your commitment to composition, which I love composing stuff. But you always been like someone that I was like, Bernard really takes it serious. And you compose like on a bus and stuff, right? You don't need your instrument there.
No.
So like Sibelius there.
Just type it.
Just type it right here down.
I mean, Sibelius, to be honest, it's got so much easier. I remember when I was like younger, I just had like, manuscript pads.
Yeah, sure.
I'd just sit there and
I remember.
I'd have a recorder just to test lines and just write them out. And but now with computers you have Sibelius, and so you can just type it in.
I know, it's so much easier.
And you can hear it back.
You can hear it back too.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Great,
but because often when you're writing, and you would know this too, Eddie, like when you're really composing, the trick is actually to shut everybody else out. And what you need to do is create time in your space where nobody can disturb you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for a while, I used to work for Redland City Council, and one of my things is I don't drive, which I'm notorious for. So I'd catch the train to work.
Yeah.
And so I'd get on the train at Brando and I'd get off it at Cleveland. Yeah. And I had 45 minutes where nobody was going to disturb me.
Awesome.
In each direction. So that's an hour and a half a day.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
So what I do is I get on the train, I'd open my laptop and I just start typing. Yeah. I just write music.
Yeah.
And
fantastic.
For the whole trip.
A great, you know what I mean? Like a arrangement that you created for yourself to do it.
And it's like shut everything else out.
That's
nobody's
so
going to disturb you.
Yeah.
That's your time to do your thing.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. And it's about that. It's about repetition. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, but you're so creative. You have this amazing talent." It's not about talent. It's just about showing up for me, right? You know, which I think you agree. And
just
you
found work.
Exactly. And you found a great system. You know what I mean? To put it in your, in your very busy lifestyle. A time for composition. That's really smart.
Targets help too. Like because I end up going back to uni and studying music.
I remember. Right? You did the masters and composition and stuff.
Yeah, I finished. I actually graduated this year.
Yeah, wow.
In May, and so I went back to uni and studied music. And last year I was doing my honours in composing, and I had for that I wrote a symphony. And what I did for the symphony, I blended electronic and classical composition styles together.
Wow.
And I had marimba and all these cool instruments in it.
Awesome.
But I had targets. So every day I had to write a minute of music.
Right.
So,
wow. Awesome.
Like every day I'll write 1 minute of music. And 1 minute of music is actually a fair amount of music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And some days that 1 minute of music would be absolute rubbish. It would be 1 minute of music that you never want to listen to again. In fact, most days of absolute rubbish. But
within those maybe 7 days, actually you find some stuff.
But over 12 months, you've got enough to pass.
Exactly. There's a lot of composers. Yeah. Do you know Emerto Pascoal, a famous Brazilian guy? He does that. He did that for a year. And there's this other guy, a guitarist from Melbourne, Doug DeVries. He also did that. He committed, okay, I'm going to write a song every day for a whole year. And both of them like, wake up, have a coffee, sit there. And so maybe the song is not going to be the best, but it's incredible.
I did that for a year, writing a song.
Great exercise.
Did a song a week for a year.
Did you? Okay.
Writing meeting, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, you did it as well. Awesome.
52 of them. So my thing was I had to write and record and put a song online every week.
Wow. Okay.
And
that's fantastic.
Let me tell you, after 3 months, you really start to scramble for things to write about. But every day, I mean, that's full on. I can't imagine. Did you do that for a year?
They did it for a year. Yeah. There's a book of Pasquale, like 365 songs.
That's a lot.
Songs called 1st of March, the 2nd of September. You run out of ideas or even how to call them, I guess.
Because I mean, that's what I found was hard. Like coming up with musical ideas, you can do all the time.
Yeah.
But actually coming up with lyrics and an integrated song that works.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
actually a fair bit of work.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. Totally. Sometimes for me, I find that, like, especially, I love writing and, lyrics and stuff. So sometimes a song with, lyrics and chords and a melody all come in one day, Other songs will take a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, right? It's fascinating. Anyway, we got this tradition here that we started, me and Braj, that we ask every guest something like a concert that you did, a performance that you did that was really kind of memorable, that was incredible. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Is this in a good way or a bad way?
No, in both sense. So one that was really amazing, and one that you're like, holy moly, what happened there? It doesn't necessarily need to be like the music was terrible, or it could be something crazy that happened. Because you're talking about Luminescence, right? Liz Young is in there, right? The violin player. We had her over, and she was like, she was performing on stilts, like on 2-meter stilts in Korea or something, and then the floor was wet because it was very humid, and she slipped, fell on top of a DJ, but managed to catch it. It was kind of disastrous, but kind of fun, So, what can you think of?
Well, I've got a bit of a yarn.
Okay.
I mean, it's actually more than one performance, but there's actually a really cool thread to this thing.
Okay, go for it.
And I should have brought it, but I have one of my instruments I play is tin whistle because I used to play in a lot of Irish bands. And because, when you're playing things like a flute or a tin whistle, you're not playing all the time. You have to stop because otherwise people get really annoyed with it.
Especially with the tin whistle.
Especially with the tin whistle. So what I did is I taught myself tricks.
Yeah.
So one of the tricks I could spin it all around my fingers.
Oh, wow.
Like that real fast, Yeah, so it looked really good. This is a stage thing. So anyway, one of the bands I was in, we actually got the support for Bob Geldof, the national tour.
Wow, that's
so I supported Bob Geldof, and we're on the stage, and we're playing away, and I was doing my thing. And anyway, this tin whistle just launched off.
Oh no!
it was just gone. I was like, I'm singing. I'm glad I brought a spare.
Yeah, well done. Oh my God.
So I had my spare out. Anyway, we're playing away, and towards the end of the set, this guy had fought his way all the way to the front of the crowd. And he actually had my tin whistle.
No way.
So I'm trying to give it back to me over the security guards. Anyway, I could not lose this tin whistle.
Oh, you tried.
Seriously. I was playing in this bar and we got lost behind the bar. 4 months later, it turned up. So, yeah.
Is that a magical tin whistle?
It's a magical
tin whistle.
It's got a nice sound, actually. After a while, they get so beaten up, they've actually kind of got a nice tone to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of magical gigs, I don't know, the ones that I've actually probably the most magical one that I did was really cool actually, but it was a cabaret show. And I got really obsessed with French for a while, just before I met you actually.
Yeah, awesome.
And I was working with this amazing theatre director called Freddie Comp. And over 3 years, we actually wrote this whole cabaret show around the Jacques Prouvé, the poet, and all his poems.
The writer of Autumn Leaves, no?
Yeah,
the lyrics in French.
Right. Anyway, so we got really obsessed with him and wrote all this huge cabaret, and we put it on as part of the cabaret festival. And that was pretty magical because we just went to town.
Yeah.
We had this amazing venue in the Judith Wright Centre.
Yeah.
And we set up the stage. We had these mics on huge, like in a boxing ring, like big bungee cords.
Oh, awesome.
Put all the audience in a ring around the action. And then the musicians could move around.
Yeah.
And it was just a phenomenal gig. And we had songs in French, written songs in French and English and music. And obviously we included the poetry in a cabaret sort of sense.
Awesome.
That was probably the most magical gig because it took 3 years to actually put it together. It was a lot of work. And then when we did it, it just looked phenomenal.
Awesome.
And, it went really well and people loved it. Everyone who saw it just thought it was just incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah,
but we even got, because we were writing, because I don't speak French as a native, although after 3 years I could actually understand it quite well. And my partner Freddie, he could speak French, but he was German background. Yeah. So we ended up sending the songs to Paris, to one of the universities in Paris to review them. So we actually got all the stuff reviewed in France.
Wow, fantastic.
We did the whole trip. It was just really amazing experience. Yeah.
Fantastic, well done. And any new projects? What are you working on at the moment?
Well, this year I have become a producer.
Oh, hello.
So this year what I did is we started something called the Switchboard Project.
Yes.
And what that was about was creating opportunity for other people. So at the beginning of this year, we got about 40 creatives together and they had over 2 workshops and they designed 4 events through the course of the year, which we then delivered. So we had 2 exhibiting artists and up to 3 or 4 performing artists in every single one of these events. Yeah, absolutely. And they all had their own theme and they all did really, really well. We just had our last one just the other weekend. It was massive. There were so many people there. It was just huge. Over the course of the year, it's really built up an impetus. And some of the people turning up are really very prominent. Wow, fantastic. In the Brisbane art scene. And so we're getting some great people involved. And that's what I've done over the last year is do that. Yeah.
Oh, I've been to one of the shows. I've been to 2, I think, the one with Danny, I haven't seen his art, and the one with Misha's photo as well, Misha Majakotti's photography. Yeah. And it was amazing. I had so much fun. Yeah, it was really well put together. There's poetry, there was painting, there was visual art, there was music. It was really fun.
Yeah, it was everything. And
so it was great. Well
we
done.
Did 4 of them, and the last one we had a band called the Chimilitas along, and they were really good. Yeah. And an electronic artist called I'm going to remember his electronic artist handle name, anarcho-sophist,
Nice.
and the improvised theatre thing. And I must admit, when people say improvised theatre to me, I sort of go, oh, really? But he was really, really good.
Was he? Yeah,
He was really good. I was like, "Wow, this guy's amazing."
Oh, fantastic. That's great.
So that was a really pleasant
surprise. I know the feeling.
Yeah, it was really, really good. So,
well done. That's
so
awesome. So if there's any young artists, like if they want to apply for the...
like we're our approach is very collaborative. So we work with people who want to be involved. So next year we're looking at the same sort of format that you came on to with the two exhibiting artists and the performances. But we're also looking at two fashion music events as well.
Okay, awesome.
And we've teamed up with some of Brisbane's leading fashion designers around that.
Awesome. Well
done. So, so that we'll be doing that as well. So we're going to be looking for musicians who want to be involved.
Beautiful. Yeah. So like for the guys listening at home, what's like, do you have like a website?
Yeah, if you go to switchboardarts.com.au.
Okay, yeah.
Just go there and you can just contact us through us. We're very friendly. We don't have an application process. We just, the trick is if you want to do something, you have to come along and you have to
participate in
show your
interest in your work, I guess. Yeah.
That's right. But so we're not about filling in forms, but we are about people who actually do stuff.
Yeah.
So if you want to do stuff, definitely say hello to us because I like people who do stuff.
Well done, Bernard. Oh, that's beautiful. And thanks so much for being here, my friend.
My pleasure.
What an honor. Should we play one more tune?
Why not?
Awesome.
Would you like to introduce this one?
Okay, absolutely. So I think I played this song many, many years ago with Bernard. And it's a choro, music from Brazil that kind of predates samba and bossa nova and all the, kind of poppy electronic stuff we're listening today. So this is called Moleque Mora, which is a beautiful little choro, written by D. Pecci.
Pecci, yeah.
Pecci. Yeah.
What does Moleque Mora mean?
Moleque is like a naughty boy, Moleque. Mora, I don't know, could be maybe... For me, like a surname, maybe, like Nori Mora,
Nori Mora.
I think so.
We'll have to channel that.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see.
Thank you.
Let's be,
I'm glad.
cheeky in our playing.
It has a cheeky vibe. So.
It does have a cheeky vibe, no?
That's something to pick up on.
Yeah, good point.
Ready?
Yep, thank you. so much.
Thank you.
So, did you guys like it? If you really liked it, please don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, and if you really like it, you want to support us, don't forget to go to the link down below and go to our Patreon account where you can help us keep going. Thank you so much. See you soon.